Incredible! Every surface now becomes a good ground. I invite you to watch this amazing tester cut the time and frustration out of testing for voltage. Today, one of the biggest problems we have when working with an automotive light tester is finding a decent ground. Seems like everything is covered in paint, plastic, or rubber. Finding a good ground can really be a burden. However, with our new Magic Ground wireless tester, every surface becomes a good ground. That's every surface becomes a good ground, and that makes it fast. You can use this tester two ways, wireless mode or snap magnet mode. We made this demonstration board here to show you some more capabilities of the Magic Ground wireless tester. But first off, I'd like to show you a little bit what's on the board. We have three batteries here, a 24 volt, a 12 volt, and a 6 volt battery, primarily so we can show you the characteristics, how this tester will respond at the different voltages. But mainly we're going to be using the 12 volt because that's what's common on almost all vehicles today. The battery has a native ground, and the native ground is connected to this base plate. This base plate represents the frame of the car, and on the car you'll find different components like chrome, like a chrome bumper, maybe metallic paint, or a rust like on a frame or on a trailer that has rust on it. And we have molding that you'll find on cars today, and then we have big painted sections, and maybe even fiberglass. So first off, we're going to show you how this thing works with the wireless mode here. And so we're going to take the finger saver off because we're primarily using just a terminal. And we're going to go ahead here and put the point on the 12 volt positive, and you'll notice that on chrome it conducts just fine. I have one LED, and it vibrates, and that represents 12 volts. But that's nothing new. Every tester works well on chrome. But let's go into, for example, here metallic paint. It conducts just fine through the metallic paint, which normally it doesn't on most testers. Here we have a rust, like a rust on a trailer or a frame of a car, and here rust works just fine. It has no problem at all. Rust normally is a very poor conductor. And we have molding, which you'll find on trunks of cars in different places. Rubber normally is an insulator, but the inside the rubber always conducts. So you'll feel some ribs down in there. And now the next thing is to what do we do to make sure everything becomes a conductor? For example, like big painted areas. And what I'm going to do there is we're going to go ahead and put on the snap magnet cable here to slide it on. And we'll stick it to this hard to normally unconductive area, like the painted section of a car. And we'll put on a couple sprays of this instant ground, which is nothing more than diluted car wash. And now if we reach up here and touch the 12 volt source, we'll notice it conducts just fine. And it conducts through the paint. But what becomes even more surprising too, let's say we take off the snap magnet cable and use it as a wireless tester. We can now touch this wirelessly with the instant ground on it, the diluted car wash solution, and it conducts just fine. In fact is, we can even touch the plastic lens and it conducts. Plastic doesn't conduct, but the film from the instant ground solution is a very, very good conductor. And it gives you some ideas how to use this. You'll come up with your own ideas on what to do with this tester. It becomes just a lifesaver, and it's fast. You'll notice that there's no hunting for a ground, and you just instantly go to work. I'll show you the next feature of this thing is a self-test and a continuity function. We can put this between our fingers. There's the point on the bottom, the contact there, and our fingers, and touch the point, and that gives us 12 volt readout from the LED, and that is reading the 12 volts is inside the tester itself. But what you can use that for is if you have to do continuity testing. Here's one where we have a light bulb. It looks like it's good, but we're just going to hold the base here, and we'll touch the different contacts on the bottom to see which ones conduct. This one conducts fine. This one does not conduct. That filament is not working. Another thing you might want to use continuity test is a diode. And a diode, basically, you hold one end, and as you know, current only flows one direction. This direction, it's not flowing. We turned around in this direction, we noticed that we get a readout on it. And this is the positive terminal of the diode, and you can see which way to hook it on and if it's working or not. And another use of this is a real benefit is the finger saver on this unit. The point is very strong, it's very sharp, and it's very little. And it's very handy when using it on the new cars. The new cars, the wiring is extremely small, and the insulation is extremely hard. And if you were to use a standard light tester, that can get a little bit dangerous. Many of you know that, where you've poked your fingers trying to get that in. Plus, it leaves a gigantic hole. With the Magic Ground wireless light tester and the finger saver, it basically is easy to grab a hold of, and you just gently pull the trigger, and it pokes this very sharp point in through the insulation, and you get your reading. And then when you're done with it, you take it off, and you're very hard pressed to even find a hole. It's a very handy when doing that. One more thing we might want to do here is retest the different voltages. And reach up here for 12 volts, and we notice it goes just fine. I'm holding my hand here on the painted area. We go to 6 volts. My hand is vibrating. You can't really see the light. It doesn't light at 6 volts or 4 volts or 5. But as you get closer to 12, you get one LED. If you get up in the 24 volt range, both lights come on. And this is really handy when testing under the dash, like with a brake controller, and you may find different wires with different voltages there. You don't want to hook onto a low signal voltage. You want to make sure you're onto a full 12 volt line. So it becomes a very, very reliable tester. And the fun thing about this is, as you start to use this, you'll come up with many more uses of your own, and you'll find out some tricks you'll be able to use. As we end this demonstration, I'd like to share some technical information that really explains why this is a must-have light tester. The reason this Magic Ground wireless tester works so well is it only sniffs for voltage. It has 12 million ohms of impedance and only draws 1 microamp from the tested circuit. That's a decimal followed by 5 zeros and then a 1. It draws 1 microamp. Now what does that mean in English? It means this: there is virtually no electrical load. There is virtually no voltage drop. That is right next to 0. This no-load feature gives us 2 amazing benefits. The first benefit of this no-load tester is actually the most important feature. It makes it airbag and computer safe. If one was to touch the wrong wire with a standard light tester, there's enough current draw to set off an airbag. There have been situations where this accidental testing of the wrong wire by a standard light tester has ended up with the car being totaled, as the cost of damage and the cost of reinstalling a new airbag costs more than the car is worth. It only makes good sense to test automotive circuits with an airbag and computer safe tester. The second benefit of this Magic Ground wireless tester is it can be used on normally very poor conductive materials, which you saw in the earlier demonstration. No load means it can even sense presence of voltage using a very, very thin film of water. And by adding a tiny amount of car wash to the water, that makes the water so that it does not bead. Instead, it makes an amazing electrical conductive film. Even if you wipe the water off with a rag, there's enough moisture still remaining on the surface to work as a very good conductor. That is where no load really is amazing. Finally, I would like to mention the battery life of the Magic Ground wireless tester. We did a bench test where we did 5,000 3/4 second voltage test over a 2-day period. We tested using 12 volts where 1 LED light would come on and the handle would vibrate. The onboard battery of the wireless tester dropped from 12.4 volts to 10.2 and was still working great. However, we believe it may be a good idea to install a new battery when your tester battery gets down to the 10 volt range, just to have your tester at peak performance. There is even more information on our website about this tester. You will discover for yourself many more uses and benefits of the Magic Ground wireless tester. We would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us through our email or give us a call. Thank you for watching this video.